the end of the week. As you can see, a break-even day, and let's just have a quick review. And ideally, this video is short and sweet. So, off the bat, you know, today's trades were pretty crispy. I had money, but I guess my take profits weren't too good. So anyways, look at AMD yesterday. Beautiful downtrend, right? This thing just dropped. So next day I'm looking, mark out my position as always. Boom, and boom, right? That's my position. So what do I see? In the first bar, it pushes down red. Pretty fat bar, but guess what it did the whole day yesterday? Drop. So can it really drop more? Not sure. But from the first bar, it showed me that it put in red, but red could not stay. It couldn't stay. Next bar put in or not next bar, within the same bar puts in green, wipes out all the red. So this is red with no follow through, instantly reversed by green. That's a stop and reverse if you went short. But I get a beautiful tail, so, and it's going straight into position, but because of how violent it is and how big this tail is, just look at it compared to the range compared to the size of the other bars. And so I don't care. I'm looking at violence. I'm trying to play with violence, momentum. But this bar I can't afford because it's too big. So next bar, pulls back into this bar's range, and over top I take it right there. One lot only, and I have a max loss at 150. My entry price was around 101.50, and my max loss is $1 down. So name, tail bar confirmation, basically. And position is I guess I don't have position, but I do have violence because it is a trade against position. But I just recognized violence and decided to capitalize on it this time. Then I'm looking for the first color change to add, and we get that here, this tail, another smaller tail, wicking off the 20. I get my add here, one lot, right here, and at first I have a separate event stop for it. So I'm treating these trades as almost two separate trades. But as soon as this bar closes strong in green, I move my stop up. So my average price right now I have written down is 101.69, and I have two lots, so my max loss could be 50 cents a lot. So that puts my max loss stop at 101.19, which is here. So it's very valid to move my stop below this. So that's what I do. I move my whole position to this. I take coming into the whole number. So I was looking for 3 pushes. Off my first entry here, I would count this as 1 push. Here, let me 1, 2, and I did recognize that it was going into the 200, but I didn't care because the 200 is not a profit-taking rule for me. It's 50 cents on a stock that's $50 or higher, or 3 pushes, and I wanted to wait for 3 pushes. And I saw that the third push territory would be pushing into the 103 whole number. So I had an order set right there at 103. let's see. Yeah, so I sold one at 103.01, around there. Literally 2 cents off the tip of that thing right here. So one is off. I have one still. This lot I moved to break even because, I mean, when you take profit, you move your stop to break even, make it a risk-free trade. And then from there, I'm looking for ads. So let's erase this a little because it's easier to see. I add here one lot, and I add here another lot. So now I'm on 3 lots at an average price of 102.36. So my max loss at that point could be 33 cents for 3 lots. So 102.03, which happens to be over here, around here. But what I do is I move my stop under my ad event right here. I think it takes me out in this same bar at 48. Oh no, psych. What did I do? 10 o'clock, sell 2. Oh, so this thing plays me. Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember now. Had to stop here, which took out 2. And then I left 1 lot to go long on the 20 holding, right? I see that it holds. I add on the very bar that wicks me out at 01. I had 1 lot. A bit confusing. It's a bit scattered. But 1 lot here, 1 lot here, 1 lot here, 1 lot here, 1 lot out. So I have 1 left. Add 2 around here. So I have 3. 2 wick out here below this event. I probably should have held it to get out on the break of the 20, which it looked like the 20 was holding for a second, but I wicked out. So I have 1 left to live through if the 20 holds, and it looked like it did. So I add 1 over here, and now my stops are underneath here. But then I stop out of everything. Stop out of 2 here. A bit messy. But it's because I had my stop 1 cent below this one, I believe. 102.09 or 102.02 at a max loss. Because now my average price on this one, when I got back in after wicking out, was 102.52. So I gave it a max loss chance at 102.02. Next thing you know, this very next bar right here, this tail, look at the low. It hits 102.02 right on the dot, stops me out before popping up to 103. So yeah, it was a mixture of things, really. Let me calculate the loss on that. $10.03. 102.86 plus 1. $87. So yeah, this trade was a roller coaster, but it did end up in a $38 loss. At the very tippy top of this first move right here, I believe I had $300. I believe I did. Average price was 101.69. Let me just do the math. This thing got to 103. Okay, a bit off. $260 at the top. So my P&L was decent. Like, this went on the ad. I was just trying to load up my position so that this thing would go off. But then, this is the important thing, guys, is news. Today at 7:05, there was a Fed speech. Jerome Powell, he was talking. That's right on this bar, 7:05, around this area. But it just looked like it had momentum to go up after like a big down day. But 7:05, this thing just collapsed, and then everything was for naught. Yeah. Honestly, I think the best thing I could have done was to avoid the re-entry and have to go through all of that mess, was to just hold the stops at max loss. A bit of a roller coaster of a trade. At the top of the first leg, on 2 lots, I had about 260-ish bucks. Took some profits. Then I was looking to get a pullback or some type of pause to add to my winner and really press the trade. I did add some size, but I guess there was some struggle around the 200. Didn't get the follow through that I wanted. Also, there was news at 7:05, 10:05 Eastern, and I was clueless, didn't know about it until price started getting volatile and choppy. Yeah, so that's basically what happened. Also, another thing I could improve on is the stop adjustments here. I moved my stop under the event when I added which I had a feeling was going to be too tight. Why? Because the 20 MA was still under the 200 and catching up. I did leave one lot to see if the pullback, to see if the 20 would hold, and it did indeed hold. It did hold. Had to re-enter, and because it did trigger again, but the time was bad because it was the economic news window, and price gets pretty unpredictable. Price gets pretty unpredictable because it's not a normal market environment. So yeah, right here you can tell the 20 did hold up for a second, gets pierced, poked below, comes up. My ads from this area, if I hadn't moved my stop right underneath tight, because look where the 20 is at that time, and I did have space to leave it at basically the whole number, 100 or 102, but didn't work out because I was tight with it. But the good thing I did do was leave one to test the waters, and so I was still in the trade technically. Triggered again over this bar, I added back, and then my stop was underneath max loss because my average price was 102.52. My stop was at 102.02. This bar just managed to hit me right on the penny, 102.02, and stop me out. And X bar was gonna stop me out anyways. This didn't get new highs anyways to take profit or anything. This probably, if I lasted through this, and the sequence went, it poked up here first, or something like that, come back down, and then come back up. Or if I had my stop sitting right at the whole number 102, I would have got lucky and not stop out. And then I get it a bounce to 103. I could have pulled my stop up to 102.50 at break even, knowing that news was coming. News comes through, breaks down, and I end with the break even trade instead of a loser. But it's okay. After all of that, I ended up with a small loss, even though I had the potential to make money. And the very next trade is, actually this bar right here. It pokes down after stopping me out. It triggers again into a tail bar plus. So I enter at 0286. When it gets pretty sizable. Right here, one. Stop right here. And the rest is history. I'm out. Name, tail bar plus, position. This one's off the 20 and 200 this time, so it's valid. This one's valid. Good position. Plus rising 20, plus 200. It was a 1 lot, so risk was good. Still within my $100 risk parameter. But I believe this one lost, what was it? 49 bucks? No, 87 bucks. Wait. I'm confused now. 87. 101.99 minus 102.86. 101.99. 102.86. Oh shoot. I'm tripping, bro. I am tripping, bro. Darn it. This one lost money. The other one made a bit of money. So I'm in at 102.86. I stop out at 101.99. So I lose 87 cents on this. Yeah. So this one is a loss. AMD 87. So the other one was actually plus 38, my bad. The other one wasn't a loser. How do I fix this? Plus 38. My bad for real. Another tail bar. Another tail bar. Plus trigger right off the 20 and 200. So I had to take it. Risk was good. This was when I noticed the volatility and looked up to see if there was news, and indeed there was. I just set a hard stop and told myself, if it goes, then good for me. If it stops out, this would be the last trade until the news window settles down and price actually trends again. So technically, I traded news, but didn't know. Next time, I'll make sure to stay out and not get trapped in those improbable conditions. So yeah, it looked good from a technical point of view. Uptrend, wicks down, does not follow through, produces a tail bar plus. I'm entering on anticipation within the bar. And in normal conditions, when Powell isn't speaking, I believe that this bar should follow through. But like right when the bar that he talked, 705, this thing just dropped. So yeah, just set the stop, and that's why we have stops, you know, to get out, save ourselves. But after this, I took a pretty fat break. I was just sitting there waiting for the next trade because I stopped out at 05, right? And my next trade is at 42. So in the live recording, you could just see me like scrolling through, just waiting for the next trade, and the next trade comes like 40 minutes later. And it's on Baba. Low key, this was trending pretty nice in the afternoon. I didn't trade this afternoon though. So what I saw on Baba, I saw this daily looking good to continue down. I saw this big bar, tail bar going into the 20. No follow through. I see this red bar now, right off the 200. So now it's actually going with the help of the 200, this tail bar. So I'm thinking it could follow through. And same with the 5 minute. I believe it was this over here. Yeah, 1040-ish. Yeah, right off this 8. So you see the highs fail. 200 does not break above. Breaks below. I'm waiting for the 20 to start trending. I'm looking for a pullback. I'm looking for this not to pull back more than 50%, so it's perfect. Right there, I get a trigger. I'm in 6 lots with an event stop. So name, pullback color change, and that's a tail as well. Position, declining 20. Thing is like textbook. Risk is good. It was like a 16-cent bar. No. How much is it? 3 plus 11? 15, 16-cent bar, yeah. The bad thing here was I did not take profit. But I was just trying to go boom or bust. Like this was either going to drop for the rest of the day, or I would just lock in a free trade. Yeah, no way was I going to lose money though. So here is when I get profit taking rights. This low, this creates a new low. My average price was around $88.95 on anything $50 or higher. The stock $50 or higher, I'm looking for at least 50 cents of follow through. So I could have taken some profits at 45, which is basically the damn bottom of this thing. And I chose not to. I had orders set, bro. I had one set at 42 for whatever reason, and I was just so stuck on it having it at 42 that I didn't manually take it out, even though this did give me a new low and 50 cents. But you can see the lowest this got to was 43. Yeah, the rest is history. This thing just went up the rest of the day. So I missed my chance there. Next thing you know, this thing's pulling up. The 8 MA is there. So I'm looking to max out this position. Right here, color change. Green bar at the 8. This bar dips below, color change. So I have 4. So after it reaches here, I'm breaking even first of all. if it's not going to go further, I'm just going to lock in a free trade. If I'm not going to take profit, I'm going to lock in a free trade. This thing triggers right here. I put the rest because I can only afford 10 lots, 1,000 shares. And then my break even is now at 88.78, so I move that there. And I get so lucky. So all of my stops are above this. I get so lucky because the next bar pops up to 88.77. My stop is at 78. It makes a tail bar, which in my head I'm thinking, yo, we're about to make so much money. Because if this thing followed through, I would have made a lot of money. And it did trigger at 58, this bar right here. But it just didn't follow through. I was looking for this thing to drop down, get to this whole number, get to the 88 whole number, or what was it? 89? Yeah. It just never went. So it was just a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. As you can tell, we stop out over here. Oh yeah. I start getting out early because I know this big old bar right here. Like, this is not normal, bro. This thing should drop. After a tail like this thing should drop. So what is this bar? So I move my stop even closer to make account for this loss so that I could just break even for the day instead of taking a $50 loss, just in the week at break even. So I get out a bit earlier, right here on everything. Free trade, like plus 65, nothing crazy. At the top, I had a 300 with the new low and 50 cents on 6 lots, 300. It was a pretty nice trade. For what I risked, about 100, this went 3 hours. So I probably should have locked something in, but I didn't. So that's the only mistake. Gotta lock money in. Otherwise, the market will take my money. If I don't pay myself, the market is not gonna pay me. I gotta pay myself. With that being said, I think everything about that trade was valid. Super valid. Got super lucky over here too. Managed to have a perfect break-even price right above that tail. So just imagine if that thing followed through. I would have a stop at such a valid point right above that tail, but without risking a single dollar. It's just break even. So that could have been huge if it actually went. And I'm gonna just keep trading that same exact way because that's how when it does follow your way, that's how you make a lot of money. Because I built up a pretty big position. It just happened not to go this time. I had 300 bucks at the top, 50 cents and a new low, but I took no profits, and that's on me. I was trying to go for a home run, banking on the idea that this thing would drop to the whole number at 88. Just didn't materialize. Had an ad on the pause, on the drift sideways as well, so I can add to my winner. Got real lucky with the average price when I moved my stop there. it was 1 cent away from wicking out before it turned into a tail that gave me hope. The tail triggered under the low, but just produced no follow through. I see a big green bar close, so I look to get out of the position a bit earlier than break even to cover my $50 loss on AMD. It did go up for the rest of the day, but I wasn't trading. So I think the trade was valid. In another universe with great follow through, this trade would have been a home run with no risk involved. For real, it had no risk involved because I moved my stop to break even. Added here 6, added 4 here. My average price was 78. Magically, this didn't hit my thing. Put in a tail, gave me hope. Next bar triggers. If it went like boom, 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 this would have been a different story. And also, I guess this drop 1, 2, I guess you could say that. But I was just banking on the idea that this would drop and I would make so much money. But yeah, it was boom or bust, home run. It was going to be either one. Break even or a lot of money. And I wasn't going to be dumb and risk money, you know. Like, at the bare minimum, it's a free trade. So, risk free. And it just didn't work out this time. So, yeah, and that's how we ended the week. 2 break-even days, 2 losing days, and 1 decently big day. So we're down about 4 or 5 hours this week. And we'll be back at it again next week. I promise this weekend I'll put in the work because I don't have to record these videos and journals. So I will look to make a watch list for sure. I promise. Got to put in the work on the weekends and then get back to work tomorrow or next week. Peace, guys.